Switch off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible because my phone battery is going to die. But suffice it to say, this is part 2 of what I added to Goodreads in August. And I have an interesting selection of books. Stuff that I don't normally read, but I'll just get started. The first one is called A Good House for Children by Kate Collins. I found this one through the Fabled book preview. Fabled is a bookstore in Waco, Texas, and I sign up to watch their Zoom book previews where they talk about upcoming releases. So this one's already out. I don't remember when it was out, but it's already out. The description says, once upon a time, Orla was a woman, a painter, a lover. Now she is a mother and a wife. And when her husband, Nick, suggests that their city apartment has grown too small for their lives, she agrees in part because she does agree, and in part because she is too tired to think about what she really does want. She agrees again when Nick announces with pride that he has found an antiquated Georgian house on Dorset cliffs. A good house for children, he says. Tons of space and gorgeous grounds. But as the family settles into the mansion, Nick absent all week, commuting to the city for work, Orla finds herself unsettled. She hears voices when no one is around. Doors open and close on their own. And her son Sam, who has not spoken in 6 months, seems to have made an imaginary friend whose motives Orla does not trust. 4 decades earlier, Lydia moves into the same house as a live-in nanny to a grieving family. Lydia, too, becomes aware of intangible presences in the large house, and she, like Orla, 4 decades later, becomes increasingly fearful for the safety of the children in her care. But no one in either woman's life believes the stories that seem fanciful. The stuff of magic and mayhem sprung from the imaginations of hysterical women who spend too much time in the company of children. Are both families careening toward tragedy? Are Orla and Lydia seeing things that aren't there? What secrets is the house hiding? Sounds creepy and fascinating. So, I'm totally in. And again, I'm not normally into scary, but I don't know. This just sounds good. Next is The Leftover Woman by Jean Kwok. I got this one through the Currently Reading podcast. This is coming out October 10th. Jasmine Yang arrives in New York City from her rural Chinese village without money or family support, fleeing a controlling husband on a desperate search for the daughter who was taken from her at birth. Another female casualty of China's controversial one-child policy. But with her husband on her trail, the clock is ticking, and she's forced to make increasingly desperate decisions if she ever hopes to be reunited with her daughter. Meanwhile, publishing executive Rebecca Whitney seems to have it all. A prestigious family name and the wealth that comes with it, a high-powered career, a beautiful home, a handsome husband, and an adopted Chinese daughter she adores. She's even hired a Chinese nanny to help her balance the demands of being a working wife and mother. But when an industry scandal threatens to jeopardize not only Rebecca's job, but her marriage, this perfect world begins to crumble, and her role in her own family is called into question. The Leftover Woman finds these 2 unforgettable women on a shocking collision course, twisting and suspenseful and surprisingly poignant. It's a profound exploration of identity and belonging, motherhood and family. It is a story of 2 women in a divided city, separated by severe economic and cultural differences, yet bound by a deep emotional connection to a child. Yeah, this sounds exactly like what I would read. Adoption, totally my thing. Next is a book I'm not sure I'm going to like, but my friend Lupita has been talking about the series. She's been into it. It's a children's series. It's called, the name of this book is Secret by Pseudonymous Bosch? Wow, okay. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This has a very Lemony Snicket feel to it, like the description. Look, warning. This description has not been authorized by Pseudonymous Bosch. As much as he'd love to sing the praises of his book, he is very vain. He wouldn't want you to hear about his brave 11-year-old heroes, Cass and Max, Ernest. Or about how a mysterious box of vials, the symphony of smells, send them on the trail of a magician who has vanished under strange and stinky circumstances. And he certainly wouldn't want you to know about the hair-raising adventures that follow and the nefarious villains they face. You see, not only is the name of this book secret, the story inside is too. For it concerns a secret, a big secret. We'll see. This sounds very Lemony Snicket-like the way this description is written. So, yeah. Next is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I heard this one also through the Currently Reading podcast. I've only read one book by Lisa Jewell, then she was gone, and I liked it. So, I'm kind of on a Lisa Jewell kick right now. Celebrating her 45th birthday at her local pub, popular podcaster Alex Summers crosses paths with an unassuming woman called Josie Fair. Josie, it turns out, is also celebrating her 45th birthday. They are, in fact, birthday twins. A few days later, Alex and Josie bump into each other again, this time outside Alex's church school. I don't know if it's Alex or Alix. It's Alix. Anyway, Josie has been listening to Alex's podcast and thinks she might be an interesting subject for her series. She tells Alex, on the cusp of great changes in her life. Josie's life appears to be strange and complicated, and although Alex finds her unsettling, she can't quite resist the temptation to keep making the podcast. Slowly, she starts to realize that Josie has been hiding some very dark secrets, and before she knows it, Josie has inveigled her way into Alex's life and into her home. But as quickly as she arrives, Josie disappears. Only then does Alex discover that Josie has left a terrible and terrifying legacy in her wake, and that Alex has become the subject of her own true crime podcast, with her life and family's lives under mortal threat. Who is Josie Fair, and what has she done? That's what I want to know. What has she done? Next is a book I found on an Audible sale. Just randomly? No, it wasn't an Audible sale. It was like one of those recommended for you after you read this book. Anyway, it's called The Stolen Twins by Sherry J. Ryan. Auschwitz, 1944. You can't leave me, I whispered, my hand trembling as I reached for her cheek. You can't. We're in this life together, always, just you and me. This utterly heartbreaking, yet beautiful, hopeful World War II page-turner tells the story of identical twin sisters in Auschwitz. Born minutes apart, Irina and Nora have never left each other's side, until now. The cattle car is dark, except for the light filtering under the boarded windows. There are too many of us to count, crushed up against each other. The air is stuffy, carrying the scent of our terror. None of us know what awaits us when this train stops. I cling on to Mama's hand, and Nora, my twin sister, clutches Papa's. After what seems like forever, the train stops. We slip out of the carriage, the sun blinding us after being imprisoned in darkness for so long. There are people everywhere, soldiers separating children from their parents, husbands from wives. We're in some sort of queue, and a man in a dark green SS uniform walks by, glancing at everyone he passes. Twins, twins, he shouts. My heart falls into the pit of my stomach. Right here, says Mama, hesitation in her voice. My daughters are twins. My eyes widen, and Nora trembles. Papa tries to tell Mama to be quiet, but it's too late. The Nazi catches sight of us. Twins, he says again, pausing to inspect Nora and me. Yes, you are, aren't you? You two are going to come with me. Yeah, so basically, what happens to these twins? Nothing good, probably. And yet, I want to know. Next is An Orphan's Wish by Lizzie Page. I'm not going to read the description of this because it's the 5th book in a series, the Schilling Grange books. It's like an orphanage. So yeah, I'm excited that this is coming out. September 5th. Next we have Beneath the Swirling Sky by Carolyn Leiloglu. I am so sorry. Recommended by the Currently Reading podcast. And also, I found it on Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction's upcoming books for September video. It's coming out on September 12th. A house full of paintings, a missing sister, and a family secret send a boy and his cousin into a world where art is the key in this fantasy adventure, perfect for... Okay. After an experience he'd rather forget, Vincent is determined to be done with art. So when he and his little sister, Lily, spend spring break with their art conservator great-uncle, Vincent's plan is to stay glued to his phone. That is, until Lily disappears into one of the world's most famous paintings, and Vincent learns his parents have been hiding something from their family. I cannot read. And Vincent learns his parents have been hiding something from him. Their family is the last of the Restorationists, a secret society with the power to travel through paintings, and a duty to protect them from evil forces. With Lily's safety on the line, leaving art behind is no longer an option. Vincent must team up with his know-it-all second cousin Georgia, wrestle with why his parents lied to him, and confront both his past and a future he never wanted. So, yeah, this sounds interesting, and I'm not normally that into fantasy, but yeah. Apparently it also has some Christian elements to it. Katie from Currently Reading Podcast said that Jesus was brought up in this book. So if you're not interested in that, yeah, there's your warning. Next we have Bye Baby by Carola Lovering. I got this one through the Reading Through Life podcast. They do, like, on their Patreon, they have, like, the new books they just received episode. And I guess this is an arc that one of them received, because it's not coming out until March 5th, which sucks because it sounds good. A Missing Baby, a fraught friendship, a secret that can never be told. On a brisk fall night in a New York apartment, 35-year-old Billy West hears terrified screams. It's her lifelong best friend, Cassie Barnwell, one floor above, and she's just realized her infant daughter has gone missing. Billy is shaken as she looks down into her own arms to see the baby, remembering with a jolt of fear that she is responsible for the kidnapping that has instantly shattered Cassie's world. So begins the story of Billy and Cassie's friendship, both in recent weeks and since they met 23 years ago in their small Hudson Valley hometown, the summer before 7th grade. Once fiercely bonded by their secrets, including a traumatic, unspeakable incident in high school, Cassie and Billy have drifted apart in adulthood, no longer the inseparable pair they used to be. Cassie is married to a wealthy man, has recently become a mother, and is building a following as a fashion and lifestyle influencer. She is desperate to leave her past behind, including Billy, who is single and childless and no longer fits into her world. Hurt and rejected by Cassie's new priorities, Billy will do anything to restore their friendship, even as she hides the truth about what really happened the night the baby was taken. This is wild. I need to read this ASAP, but it's not happening. We're barely in September. This isn't coming out until March. Anyway. Next is Behind Closed Doors by Carol Wire. I got this one from Chloe from Always Booked. 2 kidnappings, 30 years apart. Can Stacy face her own dark past in order to save her stepdaughter? When Stacy's ex-husband turns up on her doorstep, begging her to help save his kidnapped 13-year-old daughter, Lyra, the terror is all too familiar. Stacy's own violent kidnapping 30 years ago was never solved, and while a severe case of amnesia spares her from recalling the specific horrors, she remembers enough. Stacy knows her father never paid the ransom. She has the missing pinky finger to prove it. Yeesh. She knows she was only saved because of an anonymous tip-off to the police, and she knows her captor was never apprehended. Lyra's kidnappers have made it clear the police must not get involved, but Stacy can't shake the eerie similarities between the 2 cases, and she'll use whatever she can, from her journalistic powers to her shady contacts, to save Lyra from the same nightmare. Desperate to find any link between Lyra's abduction and her own, Stacy forces herself to revisit her forgotten, traumatic past for clues. But can she make sense of the terrible secrets she unearths in time to save Lyra? And if she does, is she ready to face her own tormentor? Yeesh. Next is Under the Tulip Tree by Michelle Shockley. I got this one from a video from Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails. 16-year-old Lorena Leland's dreams of a rich and fulfilling life as a writer are dashed when the stock market crashes in 1929. 7 years into the Great Depression, Rena's banker father has retreated into the bottle. Her sister is married to a lazy charlatan and gambler. Jeez, charlatan? This is the book of its times. And Rena is an unemployed newspaper reporter. Eager for any writing job, Rena accepts a position interviewing former slaves for the Federal Writers Project. There she meets Frankie Washington, a 101-year-old woman whose honest yet tragic past captures Rena. As Frankie recounts her life as a slave, Rena is horrified to learn of all the older woman has endured, especially because Rena's ancestors owned slaves. While Frankie's story challenges Rena's preconceptions about slavery, it also connects the two women whose lives are otherwise separated by age, race, and circumstances. But will this bond of respect, admiration, and friendship be broken by a revelation neither woman sees coming? And here's my last book, The Wings of Poppy Pendleton by Melanie Dobson. I got this one from Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. This is coming out on September 5th. 1907. On the eve of her 5th birthday, Poppy Pendleton is tucked safely in her bed, listening to her parents entertain New York's gilded society in their Thousand Islands castle. The next morning, she is gone, and her father is found dead in his smoking room. 1992. Though Chloe Riddell lives in the shadows of Poppy's castle, now in ruins, she has little interest in the mystery that still captivates tourists and locals alike. She is focused on preserving the island she inherited from her grandparents and reviving their vintage candy shop, until the day a girl named Emma shows up on Chloe's doorstep, with few possessions save a tattered scrapbook that connects her to the Pendleton family. When a reporter arrives at Chloe's store asking questions about her grandfather, Chloe decides to help him dig into a past she thought best left buried. The haunting truth about Poppy, they discover, could save Emma's life. So Chloe and Logan must work together to investigate exactly what happened long ago on Coster Isles. Sounds interesting. And those are the books that I added to Goodreads in the last half of this month. The next video should be the rest of the books I read in the month, the second half of my wrap-up. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!